to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Before I get started on the video, just want to give a quick shout out to John, who actually pointed me to this on Twitter, so I want to say thank you for that as I'm going to jump into this story about Golden Tate. Of course, I talked about Golden Tate briefly. We all heard the rumblings and grumblings, but more has been added to that, and now I'm really starting to wonder about whether or not the New York Giants are thinking long and hard about moving on from Golden Tate. We'll have to wait and see. I've been very outspoken in saying I think they're going to move on from him at the end of the year, and it really has more so to do with his contract than anything else, seeing that the salary cap is probably either going to be frozen or go down, and he doesn't carry that big of a dead cap hit. You have young receivers on this team, and I expect the New York Giants to try to bring in a better wide receiver that better fits their football team going forward. Golden Tate, after all, is a slot wide receiver, and from a personnel standpoint, if we're being honest, it probably was never that great of a pickup by the New York Giants to begin with. Now, I understand that you had traded away Odell Beckham. You had some extra cap space possibly because of it. Not so much that year, but going forward, and they felt that they needed another weapon for their young quarterback that they were going to be bringing in with Daniel Jones. But Golden Tate always kind of seemed a lot like Sterling Shepard. Now, I get that the New York Giants didn't know what they were going to have with Darius Slayton, but regardless, the deal, nobody was ever in love with that deal for Golden Tate. Now, I will say, and I was fair with Golden Tate, I thought he was underrated as a New York Giant last year. He was pretty productive. He had 700 yards or right around there and 6 touchdowns, and he missed 4 games due to suspension. And that was really the first start. Not that, it's speculation, but a lot of people thought it may have been performance-enhancing drugs, and he was trying to cover it up. That was the first strike. And the main reason, in my opinion, or one of the main reasons, outside of performance, why the New York Giants brought in Golden Tate was due to the fact that he was a veteran. And you had all these young wide receivers on the roster, and he was known to be a guy that would bring some culture to this football team. And the guy who was replacing, well, I think we all know why the New York Giants probably got rid of Odell Beckham. They thought he was a problem for the culture. So we expected Golden Tate, at the very least, not to be a guy causing problems in the New York Giants locker room. And like I said, he was fairly productive last year, and I still think he's a solid wide receiver. Now, I can certainly understand why Golden Tate is upset with his usage in the offense. It seems like they're getting, less and less reps. He's not getting that many opportunities. As a matter of fact, I've said that, in some of my streams that they really haven't been using Golden Tate that much. Of course, he caught the touchdown this week, so I understand the frustration. But what he's done, in my opinion, has gone overboard. And then when I heard today what happened at practice at the facility, well, it's starting to get dark and it's starting to get murky for Golden Tate here with the New York Giants. But let's jump into some of the quotes and then we'll continue to talk about the entire story. There's Golden Tate. Here's the first thing I wanted to pull up for you guys. This is from Art Stapleton. On his own verified Twitter account, Tate liked a pair of tweets critical of the Giants, including one that suggested the team should release the 32-year-old. And that happened at some point when the comments were made between Monday's game and late Wednesday's afternoon. So, there you have it. Today is obviously Wednesday, so it happened in between, probably right after the game. Somebody probably posted that the New York Giants should cut him, and, probably because Golden Tate showed that he was upset, showed that he wasn't getting the ball enough on national television. Then his wife came out on Instagram and doubled down on everything that, Golden Tate was showing on the football field, and Golden Tate liked the comment. Probably not the best of looks. Then, on top of that, Judge would not say whether Tate's absence was a disciplinary action or the player's decision to leave the facility and head home. This was today. He did not practice with the New York Giants. He did not disclose any further details, and what transpired would be dealt with internally, adding he will be back in the building and practicing with us the remainder of the week. It will be business as usual. And of course, at this point, the New York Giants can't trade him. The trade deadline has since passed. If they were going to get rid of him, I would think they would just have to bite the bullet. And I don't know if the New York Giants are willing to do that. Of course, they just brought in Pettis. Then Judge went to go on to talk about this in terms of the culture and buying in. And it sounds a lot like what he said, week in and week out with this football team. It has to be a team first for everyone in the building. Every coach, every player. And I say it all the time. Since Joe Judge has been here, that's been his mantra. That's been what he's all about. It's everybody buys in. We're a family. Nobody's above anybody else. And that's basically what he's saying there. Judge said, and although he did not refer to Tate directly, that was implied. It has to be team first. There are no exceptions to that. I am not going to tolerate putting up with any kind of selfish behavior from anybody, coach or player. It's not going to happen. It's my job to make sure we can handle things internally, that we have a family structure in this building, and everyone understands there are consequences for their actions. Well, you could take that for what you will, and maybe Judge didn't come out and concretely say that he sent Golden Tate home, but based off of those quotes, it seems like there were consequences for Golden Tate's action, and there may still be consequences to come. I would not be surprised at all if Golden Tate is benched for this game, or at least for part of it, or used in a lesser role. We'll have to wait and see how everything plays out over the course of this week and for the remainder of the season. Of course, we still have 8 games to play, and of course, the New York Giants are very thin at that position to begin with. Like I said at the top of the video, I think we all know and realize, if you look at the situation, Golden Tate's not going to be here past this year. I'd be shocked if that were the case. The guy's making $10 or $11 million. You'd save $5 or $6 million on the cap, and you could use that money to bring in a younger wide receiver or bring in another hole in your roster, allowing you to draft a wide receiver early in the draft. Golden Tate's not a part of the future, but what we expected from Golden Tate when we brought him in here was to be a leader. He's not one of the guys that you should even have to worry about being a problem and complaining, and he has since he's been here. And I didn't even bring up the Jalen Ramsey fight. As a matter of fact, I didn't even make a video on it. But yeah, after the Rams game, he got into a fight on national television. It was the Sunday game of the week with the LA Rams, with Jalen Ramsey, with the whole situation they got going on over there. So he has definitely had a rocky season with the New York Giants in terms of being a leader for this football team. And maybe Joe Judge has had enough. And I'm going to tell you what, I've said it countless times, and it's nice to see, by the way, Joe Judge finally getting some credit in the media. You saw Stephen A. Smith say something yesterday. I did a video on Colin Cowherd. They're starting to buy into Joe Judge, and this is what I love about Joe Judge. Exactly what he said in that quote. Nobody is above anybody else, and he's not going to tolerate selfish behavior. And Golden Tate, quite frankly, is not good enough for the Giants to put up with what he's doing. Period. Golden Tate, Odell Beckham had a lot more talent, so he had a little bit longer of a leash. Golden Tate, no, I'm sorry, man. You can't be doing what you're doing. You're making a lot of money. The Giants are going to be cutting you next year anyway, and you have no right to complain. Yeah, maybe the New York Giants should use you more in the game plan, but I'm sorry. And then you get sent home from practice today. That's after you got popped last year for steroids. You got into a fight with Jalen Ramsey on the field. Maybe Golden Tate's got things going on in his personal life. I don't know, but it's not good for the New York Giants culture and what Joe Judge is trying to set for this New York Giants football program. I love what I've seen so far, and I love that Joe Judge is being proactive here. This is not something that Pat Shurmur would do. You wouldn't have seen Pat Shurmur bench Andrew Thomas for the first quarter because he was late to a meeting. Well, look at Andrew Thomas now. He came out, he played really well last week. But the bottom line is this. He's trying to set a culture. He's trying to set a winning tendencies for the New York Giants, and he's not going to put up with crap. And the sooner Golden Tate realizes that, the better. And yeah, I would not be shocked at all if the New York Giants move on from Golden Tate before the end of the season, and I definitely wouldn't be shocked if they get rid of him before the start of the 2021 season. As a matter of fact, I expect it. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but I love how proactive Joe Judge is handling the situation. As always, guys, if you like what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.